everyone. This is part 2 of our CSS demo, how to write CSS using NoteTab. And I've gone ahead and opened up NoteTab, and I'm going to start off by start off as if we wanted to create a brand new CSS file with NoteTab, and then I'm going to go back and open up the CSS files I'd already created in BBEdit to show you that working with them is kind of the same. And what we're in NoteTab, and the HTML-CSS tab is depressed, but that's not the library of tags that we want. We want the CSS tab. And once we're there, if we double-click New Web Page, we get a menu box to create a new CSS file. And we're just going to call it test IA Note tab and say OK. And we're not linking it to a style sheet because it is a style sheet. And we get some HTML coding that we don't really want, so we're going to take that out. And then if you look over here at the palettes, we have the same kinds of things that we were looking at in BBEdit. We have selectors, and then we have properties. So if we click the block element selector, and then we get another menu to give us element name. So say we want to create a class that's going to be applied to a paragraph. We'll just scroll down through here and pick P for paragraph and say OK. And then we can pick, it's given us the basic beginning of a CSS rule with the selector and the curly brackets. And then we can pick the properties that we want. So you can see there's font family, there's color. Say we picked color. If we double click that, then we can select the color that we want. Say we want green, and we say OK. And we've created a CSS rule to style all my paragraphs green. We could add more properties and values. Say we could pick a font. Again, we get values we can pick. See, we can, and it puts in the font families kind of for us. So we can choose a sans serif family and put that in, and so that will make all of our paragraphs be Arial, Helvetica, sans serif. So it's the same type of selection that we could do in BBEdit, that we pick the selector, which can be a HTML element or a class or an ID. You can see that's over here, and then we pick the property that we want and the value for that property. And actually you can see over here there's the class selector. So if we double click that, we don't want to attach this class to any element. We just put in the class name and say we want to do that read element that we had before, our read class. We could put it in like this, and actually I'll do this again once we open up the other style sheet. And we say OK, and we have the beginnings of another class. Similarly, we could do ID and put in the ID name, body content, and we say OK. And you can see I put that in the wrong place. That's not going to work because it's within the read element, the read CSS, so we're going to be in big trouble. That CSS won't work. So if we open up the CSS that we've already created, take a look at it. Here's the CSS that we've already created, and this is what I was talking about, the read class that we had created using BBEdit. If we bounce down a little bit to be in the right place, and we wanted to add another class to our style sheet in NoteTab. We would double click class. Let's make this one read 3, and we say OK. And then let's see, what properties have we got? We've got color, so let's go ahead and choose color. And the other one is blue, so let's pick blue and say OK. And then we have font size, which is large, so we'll choose that and make it the same. And we have font variant, which is small caps, which is here. And we can choose that and say OK. Whoops, and we need it's not necessary as long as it's got the semicolon. You don't necessarily have to go down a space, a line, but it sure makes stuff easier to look at. And then finally font weight, if we wanted to insert that, we can do the same weight as 700. So pretty similar working with NoteTab to create CSS, that you have a palette on the side. You just have to be sure you have the CSS1 tab depressed, and then you can create your CSS with NoteTab pretty much the same way as we did in BB Edit.